Welcome into the first ever All Things Considered podcast, where we consider all things disc golf. I'm your host, Jacob, joined always by Cameron. Cameron, what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, so first off, this is our first episode. If you're watching this, shout out to you guys. Thank you for tuning into this. This is obviously a new podcast where we're considering all things disc golf. That's the whole name of this podcast. We got a lot of stuff today. We kind of got this out. We wanted this video to come out a little bit earlier because we have a ton of player signings, player re-signings, players leaving in the disc golf world. And then also we're just going to give the reason for this podcast in the first place, because at this moment there are plenty of disc golf podcasts. So we're kind of like, why us? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. We really want to treat this opportunity mostly as a time just to be able to connect with people in a different way. We create content on our YouTube channel, but a lot of that is Cameron and I in front of a camera. We go play disc golf, but we don't really get to have as much meaningful interactions with you guys. We can kind of in this type of format. So we want to kind of use it as an opportunity to talk about news. And Cameron kind of said it really well. He said he basically wants to treat this as the way that we talk to each other on the phone about disc golf stuff, because we get really passionate about it. We want to be able to talk to you guys about it as well. So there's nothing really that we haven't been talking about more than the offseason movement that's been looming coming into the new year. So I'm really, for one, excited to talk about that. But we want you guys to join along with us. If you're listening to this is going to get released on Friday, January 3rd, I believe. But the consistent schedule will be every single Monday. So you won't see anything from us next Monday, but you will see something from us every single Monday proceeding from that. We're excited to get to talk about what we're going to be doing this offseason, some YouTube stuff we're going to be doing, stuff we're doing in the store. And then, of course, whenever the tour starts rolling around, we're really pumped to get to talk to you guys about that as well.
Yeah, so I think we're just going to dive right in, because like on my list, I have like 20 names of players that have either left, re-signed, or TBD on their decisions. Hopefully, a few of the big ones, Jacob's going to be checking like periodically to see if something kind of drops, because we'd love the news to just happen like right now, but obviously we can't control that. Do we want to start with big stuff first, or do we want to ease into it?
Yeah, I think easing into it is excellent.
All right, easing into it, which I guess is kind of the no news type thing, is the Robinson brothers to start. A lot of speculation where they're going. I texted Ezra as soon as he officially announced to try to get a little bit of scoop. Obviously got nothing, which is totally fair. You know what I mean? So I think, I don't know. What do you think? Because right now it was Ezra to Discraft, Isaac. I was hearing DGA, but after all the posts, within the past couple of days, I'm hearing Isaac to Streamline potentially. So
yeah, so I totally agree. For those of you that didn't know, we actually sponsored Ezra during the 2023 season. We were his retail sponsor, and that was super fun. Ezra is an awesome individual, great disc golfer. Kim got to go out. Did you go to Idlewild or Ledgestone?
I went to Idlewild.
Idlewild. It was, I'm certain you had a great time. I wish I could have been there. But Ezra's a great dude, so we only wish the best for him. We're excited for him to get to take this next step, hopefully today, because I think he kind of had
He posted something on his story today.
Message.
Yeah, just black screen that said today. Which also, this is like another just side tangent already. I love trolling to like a certain extent. So like when him and Isaac and whoever and Alden and all those guys commenting like on the post doing the trolling, I'm totally cool with that for like maybe 2 posts, to build the hype. Like I totally understand that. But to a certain point, like and surely I'm not the only one. I'm like tired of seeing it almost. Like it's the joke has run its course that he's leaving and going somewhere else. So now just like get it over with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like falling off the other way for me, at least. I don't know about everybody else, but
yeah, no, I definitely get that vibe as well. I mean, you got to think here, like Isaac might be the oldest one of that friend group, and he's what, 22?
No, I think we're the same age. 23, 24.
Yeah. So 20. It's imagining you being the most mature in a friend group. It's like you got a bunch of young guys that are just having fun, literally living their dream. I mean, if you're Gannon Burr, you're making more than you're a 1%er at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
$200,000 a year just from tournament winnings. You're doing just fine, and you're 19 years old. So you got to give it to them and let them have some fun. But to a certain extent, it's also like there's a very divided mindset, I think, in disc golf right now. And Cameron and I are not like 10-year veterans of disc golf. Like we really got into disc golf with the pandemic. And so the fact that we have this content that we create and we have the store is awesome. We love it. But there's a whole side and history of disc golf that we essentially had to learn. You know, it's like we were taking a history of disc golf class, like just absorbing as much as we could from old Jomez footage and stuff. But I feel like there's a divided mindset of where the sport is going to go in the next 15 years. Some people think that nothing should change and it should be the same type of vibe, buddy, everybody's around a campfire singing Kumbaya. And the other side is like, we want to start to see some like fierce competition. Like we want to see rivalries form. We want to see, you know, that type of dichotomy happen. And yeah, I don't really know where I stand on that. I know that it's easy to sell heroes and villains. Sure. Like when you think about marketability, like I see stuff. No offense to the Houston Rockets. I actually think he may have gotten traded or there's like an impending trade for him. I can't stand Dylan Brooks. If you watch NBA basketball, can't stand that dude. Anytime I see him on screen, I want him off the screen. But he makes me watch things because I want to see other players beat him. And so that means that when there's a Rockets game going on, I was like, oh, let me go see if Dylan Brooks is like getting cooked right now. Like, because I want to see that. And so there's just not really that dichotomy right now in disc golf where I think there are obviously some players that are disliked, but I don't think there's anybody that's like, oh, I want to watch this because I want my favorite player to beat their rival. That just doesn't really exist. It kind of existed with a Paul and Ricky type situation, like in the late 2010s.
Yeah, and that's like, well, the late 2010s, but even like, even around 2020, like COVID, when we were getting into it, that was still like very prominent. So it was fun, like, and like I think I, like most people, were like jumped on the Paul Macbeth bandwagon hard if you were new. So
first disc I ever bought was a Buzz with Paul's name on it.
Yeah, exactly, same. So like he was my guy from the very beginning, and so he immediately gave me someone to root for. And because him and Ricky were so close, it was like, well, I can't like this guy. I know nothing about Ricky Wysocki at the time, you know, great name, but other than that, I didn't know anything about him. So I was like, this is my self-proclaimed villain. And I think that actually like weirdly helped me get into disc golf more. Like I wanted to watch it more because I had someone to root for. I had someone to root against. It wasn't just like, you know what I mean?
It's good. I mean, it's just good sport. It's because it's hard because you think, man, like hatred and anger is such a negative emotion, but sport is just built to be passionate. And so you think about these games, like I was watching the Ohio State-Michigan game a couple weeks ago when Michigan upset Ohio. Did I say Iowa State?
You said Ohio.
Ohio State. Yeah, good. When Michigan upset Ohio State, and I mean Michigan went to plant the flag, and I mean then you just see pushing, you see shoving, you see fighting, and I'm not condoning fighting by any means, but you had this sense of like pride in like your sport and who you are. Obviously, that's a team sport; it's a little bit different, but I think that that's something that could be cool in disc golf. Is to see someone take such pride in what they do and who they are that it's not just I want to go out and play my best, and if I win, I'm excited about it, but they want to beat everyone else. That is the desire. I want to be the best. I want to beat everyone else.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't really exist right now. Well, I think it's getting there. Like I saw that in Gannon a bit.
Like, I would love to see that like a Gannon AB because I think Gannon is good enough.
Yeah.
Well, obviously he's good enough, and AB is good enough. But I think, in a weird way, I think AB has the attitude where he could be like the quote-unquote bad guy in the eyes. You know, I don't think he is, but I think he could play that part well.
Kind of gives a nonchalant
and it would almost
attitude.
like benefit him.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, it does. I mean, I see more people in AB jerseys. Like granted, they're just also cool. Like they're just a good style. But you see AB jerseys all over the courses, especially here. We see them all over the place in Springfield. So yeah, definitely a popular dude. But in relation to Isaac and Ezra, I did see a couple of things on Instagram yesterday. So Isaac obviously made a post on Instagram announcing that he was leaving Prodigy. And Ezra, his brother, made a comment that said he's coming home with like the little teary-eyed emoji. I didn't know what that meant because again, I'm not Cameron's a Prodigy guy. I'm not really a Prodigy guy. So I don't really know any history of Prodigy. I know famous names that have been with Prodigy. And so I was like, man, I didn't know there was anybody before Prodigy. You know what I'm saying? To which then MVP posted a picture of just the Streamline S logo.
Yeah.
And nobody like commented on it or anything, but somebody did point out that it was liked by Isaac Robinson.
Yeah, I saw it in the parentheses, liked by Isaac Robinson, by the way.
Yeah, that changes a little bit of perspective for me because, Cameron, last I had heard was, Ezra to Discraft and Isaac to DGA, so they could kind of still be together but have their own brands to work with.
Well, and that's what I heard because DGA was, and granted, this isn't coming from anyone at DGA as far as I know. It's just comments I see on Instagram or whatever, that they not necessarily rebranded, but they're kind of getting a new look. They're changing. I feel like they're adding molds. I could be wrong here, but I feel like they're adding molds. But they're doing some kind of bigger rebranding, or Discraft is doing that for them, or however that works. So it made sense that if they're going to do all this new stuff, why not add a huge player to the mix like that? So that's kind of why I thought DGA as well. But I don't know if you just said that. Apparently, and I learned this not too long ago either, again, with everyone speculating, Isaac was sponsored by MVP maybe when he was in college.
Yeah, I found that out.
Did you say that already, or
No, I did not say that.
Yeah, so I could see that being, also the play. And Streamline, I don't know. A lot of people are against MVP because of the overmold. It just looks different. So people, granted, that was me a long time ago. I was I didn't throw MVP because I didn't like the way it looked. But slowly moving into the bag. Regardless, Streamline is definitely a quote unquote normal looking disc. You know what I mean? There's no overmold. So I feel I don't know. It's just interesting. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think I don't want to say he's getting on the bandwagon because evidently he was there first. So, sure. But I think when you think about disc golf companies, you think about disc golf manufacturers. I know that Griplock kind of covered this, and I know Tour Life covered this a couple of weeks ago, I think. But they had some public information on, I think, House of Discs sales reports, which were pretty optimistic. Obviously they were written out as a loss, but technically with your taxes and stuff on those things, you can kind of not manipulate, but you can make it appear as if you were at a loss to kind of help with tax purposes and stuff like that. But I don't know what it's like in Europe. But anyway, regardless of that, their conclusion was basically that most disc golf manufacturers are probably doing fine in terms of large budgets.
Sure.
And you got to think of House of Discs, which has done some major acquisitions. They spent millions of dollars trying to acquire these other companies, is in the multi-tens of millions of dollars of budgets. You've got to think a company like MVP and a company like Discraft have got to be doing great then. You know what I mean? Yes, MVP's shelled out a lot of money in contracts in the last couple of years, but I don't know about other retailers. We'd love to actually, if you're a retailer or you sell discs and you want to tell us in the comments, that'd be great. We can't keep MVP in the store. We put in an order, it gets here, it's off the shelves in a week, maybe two.
Yeah.
And then it's a 6-week turnaround to get more. And so it's just it's a constant battle to keep it in the store because people want it. People want their hands on it. So I would be hard pressed to think that MVP's not got the money to pay him well, but also to maybe make his own path there with Streamline.
I could see that. Well, and I guess I thought that's what everyone was doing, or not what everyone was doing, but I thought that's what Eagle was doing when he joined. But he's also Simon is technically sponsored. He's sponsored by MVP, but his line is Axiom. But I think so is Eagles, right? Because the MVP is Axiom.
Yeah. Well, MVP is the overall brand.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I could see a whole new line of discs for Isaac, and that would be great. But I also think we'll kind of move on now because we've been talking about them for a while. But Ken Climo's kind of the other big one that still hasn't announced anything. Kind of weird. I think Discraft, all eyes point to that. But I think if Isaac is not the DGA guy, Ken Climo will be the DGA guy.
Oh, that's interesting.
And they'll make just kind of a whole new line of DGA discs, but still under the Discraft umbrella.
Yeah, that is interesting. I think that could be the case. I did hear that the $200,000 per year salary thing was debunked.
Oh, really?
I think that was not true. I think what happened was there was maybe someone in passing kind of said that with disc sales, your ceiling could be up to $200,000.
Sure. Yeah.
And so someone then took and ran with that he was going to make $200,000 a year. So I don't think that's totally true. One last thing I want to say about Ezra, though, and then I actually have something else I want to say about MVP. But one last thing about Ezra is, again, with the trolling, could be a troll, could not be. We'll find out today. But he did make a post yesterday thanking Alden Harris for a hoodie that he went hiking with, and it was definitely a Discmania hoodie, obviously. So that could just be, way out of left field. Like I said, I think a lot of people think Discraft, Discmania could be. A lot of his buddies throw Discmania. I'll tell you this though, if I'm Discraft and he does sign with Discraft and posted that yesterday, I'm like kind of frustrated. I get that it's like probably not going to help Discmania's sales at all, but I don't know. To me, it's like I would rather you have not just made a post about another company when you've just posted that you're leaving your current one. I want you to talk about me. Granted, Discraft's probably not too worried about it, but I don't know. Just a little food for thought.
No, that is super interesting actually, because and again, it's just like he's just fueling the fire with the
That's where it's like trolling's gone a bit too far, I think. If he does end up signing with another company, it's like, all right, come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that last post just seems unnecessary almost.
Yeah.
Like he is trying to like, instead of it being fun, it is like a little like jab almost.
And then the last offseason movement I wanted to talk about in terms of MVP, which was interesting to me, just a speculation, purely speculation. Notice that Grip did a collaborative post with Simon and Eagle that they're no longer going to be working with them, no longer going to be sponsored by Grip. So it makes me wonder that because they did it together and they're both MVP guys, really makes me wonder if MVP is going to be doing like a cool new bag release or like something that they're going to kind of mandate their players use. I'd be interested to see that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can obviously see that happening and that totally makes sense, but I believe James Conrad has like his own line of bag. I don't know if it's like the James Conrad whatever bag. I could have looked that up probably, but I think he at least did some kind of collaboration because I'm pretty sure it has like the mountains on it because James is obviously a very outdoorsy guy. So I mean, that's definitely not out of the realm of possibility at all. Let's see. There's some other small ones here. Emerson Keith leaving Innova.
Oh, he's leaving Innova.
Well, leaving or pushed out, I don't know. But his post just said he was leaving. Joel Freeman also leaving. I assume it's the same situation there.
Yeah, I wanted to actually go through Joel Freeman's because we literally were talking about this. This is one of those phone call conversations Cameron and I were having. Is like we were talking about how some guys probably aren't going to be able to tour next year. You just look at budgets, you look at all those types of factors, and it's just that's how it's going to go. The people aren't going to be able to tour. And Joel Freeman was a guy that immediately came to my mind of like a guy that he is good. Like he is a good disc golfer. We looked him up. I think yesterday he was. Oh man, we were looking at. Yeah, because he made the Pro Tour Championship. Yeah. So he's 26th in the world. Now, we're not saying he's not touring, but he also in his post didn't really give a lot of, I don't know, information towards like signing with somebody else.
Most everyone, like the last sentence is like, more announcements to come with like the starry eyes emoji or whatever. There was nothing there.
I mean, I guess it kind of said that. It's his last paragraph of his post says, "This transition comes with mixed emotions, as I'm sure you all can imagine. I'm sad to leave and at the same time excited for what's ahead." So I guess that kind of, but to me that also feel, because he's a family guy, he's got a wife and kids.
I think he's got a newborn.
I feel like that could also be like, I'm excited to be at home and be a dad.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. Just interesting to see there. But Joel's, 26th best guy in the world, 26th in Pro Tour points last year. And may not be on tour next year. Maybe he's going to sign. Maybe he's just going to go all in with like Infinite. Who knows?
I kind of thought about that as well because he throws a lot of.
Well, he had some tour
Infinite already, yeah. So I could see something like that happening, but I think there's going to be a lot of players where it's like very limited tour. Like they'll hit the big stuff around them, but like I can see a lot of people not going out West Coast, not going overseas. You know what I mean? They'll hit the like. Basically, like Texas and everything east of that. I could see that. Yeah. But
that'll be interesting to see, because now you have back-to-back majors almost in Europe next year. You have it's not the European Open anymore, the European Disc Golf Festival or whatever it's called. Yeah. And then you have a week off, and then you have Worlds right after that still in Europe. So that'll be interesting to see.
I want to say, I could be wrong, I need to pull up the schedule, but I think there's several weeks in a row of Europe disc golf. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's going to be the same players at the top. That's my guess. They're going to be the same players at the top every single week because it's just I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that move over.
Yeah. Who else is on the list, Cameron?
So we got Kevin Kiefer. I know he announced that like he wasn't touring or really wasn't playing disc golf, him and his wife both. But he just signed with Supreme Flight, which is now Paul McBeth and I believe Dylan Cease.
Yeah.
So I don't know what all that's going to look like for him.
Is he from the Florida area, I wonder?
Yeah, Kevin is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cool. And obviously Paul's moved down that way. So I don't know what all that is going to look like. It didn't really say. He was just excited to be representing the company. Yeah. So whether it be, but that's where the thing, like, we got to think, like, a guy like Kevin Kiefer, who obviously he's good enough to tour. He probably, I'm assuming, didn't sell enough discs stuff like because that's kind of the big issue.
With Latitude, so there was that whole. They kind of had that whole
getting rid of the American players, anyways.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know. I think it's just one of those things where. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But I think it's one of those things where the disc sales, like, it doesn't directly correlate, but it is a huge factor. So I think it was kind of a double whammy for him.
Yeah,
because he had the Strive. That was his Tour Series disc, and I think we got them at one point, but we honestly might still have them. Is the thing, you know what I mean? It's just one of those. Everyone has a Destroyer, and at least for me, it's like I'd rather just throw a Destroyer. So I don't know. I don't know what Kevin's doing. I assume guys like that, sponsorship helps. I don't know. I'm sure you get some kickback of whatever sales he gets online, but I think a guy like him who's obviously good enough to Pro Tour can. Just run the local scene. You know what I mean? Show up at any given local C tier, and it's like, all right, you're like the other pros, like the local pro that's there all year long is like now playing for second because you got a guy like that just comes in and is like,
well, I think that can be tough sometimes, especially if he's down in that Florida area. There's a ton of dudes down there, especially in the offseason. I mean, like, I don't know what Florida's a big state, so I just don't want to lump everybody into one area. But like local pros from Florida, like automatically in my mind, I think of like Garrett Gerthy, I think of Calvin Heimberg, I think of Johnny McRae. You know what I mean? I think of these and Paul. So if you're Kevin Kiefer, depending on where you go, because if the pot's good enough, a lot of those guys probably are trying to go there if it's in their area. And so, all of a sudden, Kevin's like, man, I'm basically playing against the guys that win on the Pro Tour all the time, even in my local C tier. You know what I mean? And so that can be a challenge sometimes, depending on where you live. In our area, we just don't have a lot of like Pro Tour level guys in our area. So you have a guy like Andrew. Andrew Presnell probably lives 15 minutes from our store. And he can. He literally runs the local scene in the off season because he's by far and away the best dude in a 100-mile radius. But if you're in a more, heavily populated area, it can be
I'm sure like the Charlotte.
Oh yeah.
Even like if you go up to like St. Louis
or Denver, like there's a bunch of dudes from Colorado.
Yeah. Who else? Kale LaVisca, still nothing there yet. I imagine it's just going to be like he's just going to do his airborne brand.
Yeah.
And that kind of be it. Because he sold Preserve too to Gotta Throw, so he doesn't even do that anymore. So I don't know if he's just gonna focus on doing like master stuff or like the MP40 tournaments.
He kind of runs it right now. He's number one ranked Masters player in the world.
Yeah, so you might just kind of be transitioning into a new thing. And why not throw like whatever discs you want?
Sure.
Because who knows how much he was actually getting. And that's one thing I hate about disc golf right now is the secrecy of sponsorship money.
Yeah,
I get it because as soon as you find out someone is getting like X amount of dollars and you're like. Statistically, and points wise, you're like, I should be 10 spots above this guy, and the company you're with is like, well, we're not going to give you that money.
Sure,
I can see how that, like, as a manufacturer, could get like kind of frustrating.
Absolutely,
but that is annoying because I love seeing it's because then it's just more buzz. It's something to talk about, like seeing like Juan Soto's contract.
Sure.
Whether absolutely I believe it or not, he's not worth $750 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like
that's so close to $1 billion. Right, it's crazy.
But hearing that, you're like, dang, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
And
that's why contracts keep going up. That's why every single year a different NFL quarterback is the highest paid quarterback of all time. Because somebody else before that was like, well, he made that much, and I feel like I'm better than him. So if you want me, you better give me that.
I totally agree. Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. But I guess I get where the manufacturers are coming from. I just don't like it personally. The last big, I guess not re-signing, but player leaving, and this one kind of shocked me. I actually called, I opened Instagram yesterday. I immediately called Jacob, and I was like, please pick up the phone because this is kind of crazy. Big Germ out at Innova.
Yeah, wild.
It is wild. And I was reading his post and everything. He's been with Innova since 2016, so that was
8 years.
8 years.
And he's the type of guy that if you go watch like any of Jeremy's in the bags with Innova, he's like, this is the best. He's like, this is the best disc I've ever thrown. This is championship level quality. Like he only praises the plastic, and I think he even has said like I would never want to throw any other disc.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing, and that's like the last thing is as I transition to this next phase of my career, his professional ambitions change with it. So I think he's still going to be competing, but again, what I think is going to happen is he's basically just going to be sponsored by like Jomez.
Yeah, I don't know.
And kind of go full time there.
I don't know. He did mention he kind of is pivoting as well with Kale, I think, where he's going all in on not all in, but he's going more in on the Masters scene. Because he did turn 40, and so I think
No, that was Nate Sexton that said that. I don't know how old Germ is, but that was Nate Sexton.
Big Germ posted something on Instagram on New Year's Eve.
Really?
Yes,
okay.
That said he was walking his dog with his wife, and he's like, all right. MP40 scene, he's like, you better watch out for me and Nate Sexton, because he basically was like, I'm going to play the majors in MPO. But a lot of the other Pro Tour stuff, he's going to play Masters level. Yeah,
so I don't know. It is interesting because we'll go through the rest. Like Innova basically just announced like their star team and their championship team. But Kat Merch, Owen Scoggins, Jennifer Allen, Greg Barsby, Bradley Williams, Kevin Jones. They actually did sign Emily Weatherman. That's a new one. Shout out to her too because she actually played pretty well last season. She got a win. No, not that one. Yeah, that's it. So that was their championship. They had some Europeans that I didn't know / can't pronounce their names, so I kind of left them off selfishly. But this part of me is ever like, all the comments are like, oh man, I hope he didn't get pushed out. I hope, Innova, didn't push him out, whatever. I have a hard time believing that's the case because I feel like, and granted, we are newer players, and I say newer, we've been playing for like 5 years now. But as like, we're not like, definitely not like OGs, like when there was like, Nate Doss was playing or something like that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But there's other names on the championship and the star teams that I'm like, I don't understand how they got new contracts over Germ. So I have a hard time believing that he's the one getting pushed out.
No, I mean, he's definitely not getting pushed out. I'm sure he wants to go pursue maybe some new things on his own. Maybe he does want to do some stuff with Jomez. The only thing with Jomez that I find, maybe unlikely is because they're still like basically owned by the Pro Tour. So it'd almost be like he is working for the Pro Tour now, which he could be doing. That's very possible. But I think it's also a thing of like, you might see like, oh man, why did this sports team randomly keep all these other dudes, but then they cut a really good guy. It's like, okay, well, you got to think about like salary cap. I know manufacturers don't work quite the same way, but you got to think Big Germ was probably one of their more higher paid guys. He was probably making more incentive money per disc. He was selling the Thunderbird's a popular mold. There's a lot of money factors there with Big Germ comparatively to some of the other guys you might have seen on the team. Like I said, I don't think that's why it happened. I think Jeremy seems to have left on his own accord, and he even made a comment, I think, on one of the posts, maybe on Innova's post, that said like it was super cordial, very friendly amongst the two groups. It was time to move on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting because he's such like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like face personality in the sport that to see him doing something different just looks weird.
Sure.
Because I almost feel, and this might be like a weird hot take, I almost feel more weird about him leaving Innova than Ken Climo, because Ken Climo's been gone for so long that it's just like, because really you haven't heard of anything since like the week that they announced that. Everyone kind of speculated. Now it's just like, okay, he's leaving, great. But I don't know. It's weird. It's weird how that works out like that.
Yeah.
I think that's it for Innova. We're going to move on to Discraft. Obviously, AB re-signed for the 3-year, I think.
I think 25, 26, 27.
Yeah. Well-deserved by him for sure. He played really well last year. And that's such like a make or break year, the contract year. Because let's say he doesn't win it all. I think they obviously still,
he still moves product.
Yeah. I think they still extend a contract, but as far as the guaranteed salary, I don't think it would be anything compared to what he's probably getting now. So it sounds like they're going to have a new, basically they're making like a stable run of Cicada.
Yeah.
I saw like in his little promo video, which I feel like is basically just going to be like an Athena. No?
I think it'll be kind of like a Passion.
You think?
Yeah. Granted, to be fair, I've thrown neither.
Well, so a Passion's a straighter disc. The Athena is basically like the T-Bird.
Yeah.
But the Cicada is like 7, 6, -1, 1. So you make a more stable version of that. I think it's just going to end up being. And granted, it's more stable for Anthony Barella, so who knows what that means also.
Yeah.
So our guy, Andrew Presnell.
Yeah, shout out to
back.
Andrew. We love it. You love to see him extend there.
Yeah. It is, because he's like the epitome of disc golf, I think. Just because he is a grinder.
Yeah.
And I think anyone that watches this that's like in the area obviously knows that, but I think even people probably that are more around the pro scene probably respect Andrew a lot more, because he plays 30 plus tournaments a year probably.
Oh, yeah.
And there was 22
Look
on
up
the pro
PGA.
tour.
You can check right how many you played last year.
Yeah, I will.
But I got to caddy for Andrew at USDGC. This is my bib right here. And it was an electric experience, obviously, because we were at USDGC. But one thing I noticed, because Andrew, number one, like everybody knows Andrew, and it seemed like everybody really respected Andrew. I think because he's been around for a long time, like he's been in the scene for a while, but he is the most, he may not feel this way, so if he ever listens to this, that'll be funny. But for me, on his bag, in like high pressure situations, he was one of the most calm, cool, and collected dudes I've ever met. He's so consistent on the tour. Like he popped off for a Champions Cup win. Like he's a major champion. Like he knows how to close the deal. But he's got to be one of the most consistent guys on tour. And it was just a really cool thing for me to get to be there and just see that like he would throw. He is the type of guy, like I was thinking about this yesterday. We're going to have a series coming up on YouTube that is going to put me to the test, so be on the lookout for that. But he was able to see shots and say, for example, hole 2 at USDGC, it was a hyzer shot about 410 feet up to a collection of trees with an OB road on the left. A lot of guys were taking a straight flex shot that was more direct and, theoretically easier to get to the basket, but also you took OB into play the entire flight. Bunch of dudes went out of bounds. Andrew Presnell threw a hyzer shot every single time. He had never even considered throwing the flex shot. And whenever he saw somebody do it, he said, oh, that seems like a good idea, but I'm not going to do that because I've never practiced it. And I'm like, that is discipline. You know what I'm saying? Like he can just see that might be a good idea, but I haven't practiced it that way, so I'm not going to do that. He just has this mindset of like, I'm going to play my game and I'm going to do it that way. And so happy to see him get an extension with Discraft and get to continue out there on the tour.
Yeah, so I pulled it up. He played in 39 events.
Yeah.
So what? There's 52 weeks in a year, so he missed, what is that? 13?
10 or 12 weeks.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That is insane, actually, now that I think about it.
And a lot of those are local C tiers. Like he's a part of the community, which is really cool for us to have. Like he's a face in the
He's probably, and granted, I haven't met any other pros in their respective like geographical locations, but he's probably one of the most accessible professionals.
Yeah.
To just get in contact with or to run into. You see him out at any of like these Springfield,
even local leagues and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he'll go play. So super cool dude. Happy for him.
Other Discraft, Alexis Mandujano and Ben Calloway have extended, I believe, just 1 year.
Nice.
Interesting though, I don't know Valerie's contract. I should probably find that. She is Discraft, and I think that was kind of like, I think it was almost like a Gannon-Alden situation. That was like if you get Gannon, like if you want Gannon, you got to bring Alden. Granted, I don't know if that's how the situation went. Certainly how it looked. I don't believe hers is actually on Ulti World, but yeah, she's also with Discraft. I don't know if her contract's up, but she did not have the year
that people were
that I think people were expecting.
Wait, Valerie had the ankle, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what all is going on there. I assume if Alexis is back, then she's back. But Ben Calloway back. Ben Calloway, I wish, and I say this as someone who is 930 rated, I wish he played better, because him and like Bradley Williams have some of like the smoothest form. Like every part of their game looks right, but for whatever reason, it's just, you never see them up at the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they were.
And I know there's other factors.
Sure,
but
and they were on the precipice of Pro Tour Championship. I think Bradley was like 34th, and Ben Calloway was like 38th. In Pro Tour points. So it's like they were right there. They were on the precipice of Pro Tour Championship level golf. But it's just hard in disc golf right now, where unless you are watching live coverage or you keep up with scores very consistently, you only really hear about the top 4 or 5 guys, and that's it. And really, in reality, unless you care a lot about a specific tournament or a specific player, most people don't even know who came in second at most tournaments. You know what I mean? It's like, you might know who won, but you don't even know who came in second. And so, yeah, for guys like Ben Callaway, Bradley Williams that are finishing, consistently, top 30 or top 40, you're just never going to know unless you really like them and you want to know.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. And it's just one of those things. I guess disc golf's probably not big enough to where, kind of those like B, C tier level guys get the recognition that they probably deserve.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe, as far as I know, I just checked Ezra. I haven't checked Isaac. I'll do that now. No new info. So I imagine we'll not hear anything. I think we're going to get ready to wrap this one up. You got any final...
We've got one more segment that we're going to go through. This is one that I really enjoy, and so I'm going to play with Cameron. This will be a consistent segment each week, so if you guys find some of these and you want to send them our way, let me know. So one of my favorite pastimes is just literally scrolling through Facebook Marketplace. I don't look for anything in particular. I just scroll and see what pops up because I think it's hilarious. And so we're going to do this segment called The Price is Wrong. And I have found select items from Facebook Marketplace that people are trying to sell, and it's all disc golf related. And I'm going to show Cameron an image of said thing, and Cameron is going to try to play the prices right, obviously keeping the price beneath what the person has listed this thing for. Because that's my favorite part about Facebook Marketplace, is that they get to make whatever they want. The price is whatever they want it to be, and sometimes I think the price is inappropriate.
Definitely wrong.
So that is the case in this section. I'm going to show Cameron an image, and then I'm going to describe the image to our listeners. Let me know when you've absorbed it, Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. We might try to find a way to post the image as well so you guys can see it. Basically, this is a DIY disc golf cart that somebody has made. They took a broken golf bag, like actual golf bag pusher. They broke the top half off of it, and they zip tied 2 milk crates onto the bag carriage container. It's currently displaying at least a capacity of 7 Frisbees. And they post it on Facebook Marketplace to sell. And so, Cameron, you're going to play The Price is Wrong, trying to obviously stay below what the listed price of this item is on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah,
it's tough because I know you're showing this to me because it probably has an outrageous price. But when you think about it, like the milk crate, boxes are probably like you could probably get those for $1 somewhere, you know what I mean? I'm sure all of that has come from a thrift store.
Would it help if I read the description of the item for you?
That would actually be really great.
This is what the person says. Built this homemade disc golf cart. He misspelled back. He forgot the B. Back when I had time to play... the spelling of this is tough. Back when I had time to play rounds. It's great. Holds disc great. Hit me up on price. We can work something out. Got about 9 discs going with it, 4 drivers, some midways.
So some midways?
And some putters. So the discs are included that are in the photo.
Okay, so that definitely helps because I'm sure that's included in the price.
For sure. But you can hit him up on the price.
Yeah. Geez. With the spelling and everything.
I'll let you read the description after this. It's tough.
I'm going to go... Geez, the milk crates, the 9 discs, the golf bag. Jeez, I'm gonna go like $80 for all of it. Well, 9 discs. I bet he's doing like $10 a disc because that's what literally everybody does on Facebook, even though that's not accurate for what they should be. I'm gonna go $10 a disc, so that's $90.
$90.
I'm gonna go 2 milk crates. I'm just gonna do this. 2 milk crates, I'm going to say $1 max is how much he spent for those. He probably already had them. The golf thing, I'm going to go $5. So 92 plus 5, 7, $97.
Wow, that is amazing. He's selling it for $100. $100 for this makeshift DIY cart. You got to give credit to him. I'm sure it makes walking around a course much easier than holding. Now, granted, to be fair, 9 discs, I don't think it's going to be much on your back either. but
Sure.
I don't know the age of this individual. I don't know their situation. So very well may need the cart. And so there you go. For $100, you too can have your own 2 milk crates stacked on top of each other.
If you're in the Springfield area.
No, this is all of Marketplace. This is,
really?
I actually don't know where this is at.
Beautiful. Never mind. You can go look that up right now.
This is in Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Sure.
if you're in the Oklahoma area, this could be yours. All right, one last thing before we go. Every single week, if you haven't noticed, we are going to have a question of the week for you guys that we're going to leave you with. Make sure you put your answers down in the comments. We have had a wonderful time with you guys today. I'm going to read the question for you, and then we're going to get out of here.
We could probably say our own, too, if you want.
Oh, yeah, sure. That's great. Question of the week is, what are your New Year disc golf resolutions? So what is the thing that you're going to change about your game revolving specifically around disc golf? For me, biggest resolution is going to be no more circle one misses. We're going to be working on those. Obviously, I'm going to miss, clearly. And then the second thing is going to be trying to throw different brands. I'm thinking specifically MVP. I think that's my resolution.
It's
I want to
really
give
funny.
MVP a chance. I really never have, and I know the hype is there. And people love them. And so I am an Innova simp, if you will. 90% of my bag is Innova. And so I want to give MVP a chance.
No, it's funny because I thought about doing it for like a brief second, but I've seen too many people do it on YouTube where it's like basically they're just like throwing only Innova or only MVP for like X amount of time. And I was like, I see them do well, so I'm like, oh man, maybe I should try that. But then I'm like, I have the molds I like, and then slowly work my way in, and I think that's the best way to do it. Because I have, what do I have? I have the Hex, the Watt, I have the Trail, I lost the Pyro.
But you liked it.
I did, I really liked it. I guess I have the balance in there now, so it's still kind of 1-to-1 there. But I have several in there that's slowly moving, like discs I've thrown for a long time out. But I don't know. I say try. I would do other manufacturers as well too, but MVP is definitely a good place to start. I think I've been thinking about my New Year's disc golf resolutions. I think it's tough because I need to change so much.
You're kind of stuck in your ways, huh?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things is circle 2 putting, and I heard this from just like another random YouTube video I just happened to click on. The guy was talking about, he was basically saying if you're not going to putt confident, just lay up so you can tap in the next one. So I was like, oh, that's actually like
genius.
Yeah, that made like as easy as that sounds, it makes so much sense. So I think from circle 2, I'm just going to try to putt a lot more confident. I think that's my issue because I miss short probably 90% of the time if I am putting from circle 2. So that's one of my resolutions. Second one, I'll do 2 as well. New year, new nose angle. That's something I've struggled with since the very beginning now. And for whatever reason, I'm just now trying to fix it. Probably because I'm very limited in distance when my nose angle is so bad. So I'm going through some grip changes at the moment. Just try to get that.
Yielding good results, though.
It is.
So
Yeah. I'm definitely throwing a lot further than I used to, even just like a few months ago. So those are going to be my resolutions. Let us know yours. Again, this is coming out on Friday. They're going to be more regularly on, what did we say, Mondays?
Monday.
Yeah. So be tuned. Probably not this next Monday, but the Monday after because, it's already so close in between. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe. Ozark Mind just to the moon. Is that fair to say?
That's fair.
All right.
We'll see you in the next
ya.
one.